If you want an adventure, you could climb a mountain! Or ride dune buggies through the desert! Or you could just head to your neighborhood Zaxby's. Introducing the Smokehouse Cheddar Barbecue and Southwest Chipotle Filet Sandwich Meals. They're brand new and they'll take your taste buds to wild and exciting new places. Both feature our famous hand-breaded chicken, and they're both available for a limited time. Only at your neighborhood Zaxby's. And don't miss Jumanji: The Next Level, only in theaters.
From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Mr. Big Shot, know you got money in the bank now. Mr. Big Shot.
Wake up. What up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan Hajavandi. He is Corey Clark. We work for Warchant.com. Two great promos going on right now, Corey. What's better than one great promo going on?
3.
How about 2? Can you sell
Two's
for
pretty
2?
good. Yeah, 2's pretty good, too.
Okay, so if you're committed to the Noles, if you love Florida State, you'll use the promo code, I would imagine, FSU New Era, 50% off an annual membership. I mean, dude, 12 months. Like $45, $48, something like that.
Yeah.
Whole year.
Yeah.
Whole freaking year. Maybe you're a little bit hurt. Willie kind of hurt you. Last 3 years of football on the field kind of hurt you. Just kind of want to dip your toe in there. Use a promo code Garnet FSU Gold, and you'll get a $25 e-card you can use on Garnet and Gold, and you can go month to month. Try it. You'll like
had drinks last night with someone, friend of Stephanie's, work happy hour thing after work that signed up with the Adidas when we did the Adidas one.
Okay.
So he got whatever that was, like a $50 gift card or something.
Yeah, maybe $75 gift card.
It might have been $75. So yeah, and we were talking about he thought he still might have his FSU account too.
Oh.
I'm like, well, I don't know if it is it active, and he swore it was active, and I'm like, well, I guess you could try that too.
Yeah.
So. Anyway.
That one's going to. By the way, somebody who's a Baylor student emailed me or DM'd me or something asking if we could give him the deal. But that's above my pay grade.
The FSU student deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you need to be an FSU student. It's not like Facebook. We can't just have .edu accounts getting $12 a month, $12 a year memberships to Florida State.
It's all about
Warchant.
engendering bonds, lifelong bonds.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? We're both here. I mean, who would have thought we're in our underwear at various points in our lives, logging on to warchant.com. Now we're here at Midtown Studios, Tallahassee, Florida, live.
Still in our underwear, though. You and me just hanging out in the underwear.
I do get dressed when I have my Zaxby's. We didn't go out to Zaxby's yesterday for dinner, my friend and I. We patroned another friend of the program. Which we ordered double meat on our entree. And, like, if you go to a burrito shop and you ask for double meat, they charge you, like, what, $2-3 more?
Sure.
I mean, they charge us, like, 80% of the meal when we ask to double the meat on our dish.
Oh,
so,
all right.
Maybe not a friend of the program anymore. Lesson learned. I should have gone to Zaxby's.
Yeah.
Indescribably
Won't
good.
make that mistake again.
We're going to do over-unders. Top 2 winners will get T-shirts and a free salad and 5 free fingers.
And it'll keep you in the running for the end-of-the-year prize, which is a week at Aslan's.
Soiree at Slans.
Yep, for a week.
For a whole week. And
you have to help with the some of the utility bills. I mean, you're going to have to pay for 25% of whatever that comes out to be that month, but it'll still be fun.
Might have to take the cat out for a walk.
Yeah, so what? So Stephanie couldn't believe I think she's still laughing about the thread on Warchant about what was the headline? Like, of course, Aslan wants a cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't like she's like, because the last time I looked, it had like 80-something responses. And she's like, what's a normal response? What's a normal thread? How many responses does it get? And I go, well, it depends, but most of them I'd say anywhere from like 15 to 30.
Yeah.
And she's like, this one has 80? Yeah. Well, Aslan brings it out in people.
Not surprised Aslan wants a cat. We're on page number 3 right now of responses, so it's
yeah, man, that was really funny. I saw that and laughed really hard. So did she. Did she.
Yeah. Everybody's telling me to get a dog.
She still wants a contest. There should be a contest
for
to name the cat.
Okay.
Are you any closer to that?
No. Again, I'm kind of I would.
What about as an homage to Jeff Cameron? What about you name it Maintain?
Maintain?
Like Cat 5
Right.
maintain.
Oh, okay.
See?
Well,
Cat
let's call
1.
him Cinco.
Cat 1
Like
maintain.
Cat 5.
It's your first cat, right?
Yeah.
So just call it Cat 1.
All right.
If you like it, you're going to have a Cat 2 at some point
Right,
in your life,
right.
probably. So just call it Cat 1.
Yeah, a lot of people saying, single guy with cat, not a good look. I get it. I'm not using it to market myself to women. I just kind of want a buddy to hang out with. That's
I feel like it's good because I think people when they, if they listen to this show or they meet you just in passing, they might think, oh, he's kind. You're not aloof, but you might come off as aloof or I don't know, a little
Not cuddly.
not cuddly, a little bit arrogant. Well, I guess that's kind of a cat, isn't it? All those things are cats. They're not really cuddly and they're arrogant. But I think if you had a cat in your house and if you're on a date and you're like, I got to get home and feed Cat 1, she'd be like, oh, you have a cat? And then that would open up. It would be like a flower had just blossomed in front of her because it would be like, oh, so he does care about other things. There is something in his life that matters to him that's more than him. I think that stuff I think that plays well.
Yeah, I just want
the opposite
I
sex.
just want someone I can just kind of yell at and then it not bother me.
Well, don't say that. That you just ruined everything I just said. Just completely kneecapped everything I just said. Don't say that on the date. It's good to have somebody I can yell at.
Yeah. Like I would get a dog. I'd love a French bulldog, but my good buddy Manhattan Mike, formerly Manhattan Mike, now Mercedes Mike, man, he had a French bulldog, and I'm not even kidding. I think he's told me he put something like $20,000 into that dog.
Yeah, bulldogs are rough, man. The health problems they have. I would love a bulldog, man.
French bulldog though, they're cute. Like that's the thing. If I got a
bulldogs
dog,
are cute.
I want a cute little cool. Like everyone's go get a lab, and like not labs are handsome dogs, but people I don't want to go to a shelter. People shame you into rescue the dog. Who rescued who? I'm not that guy. I don't want to go get a shelter dog that God knows what kind of blood is in it, and I want something that's kind of cool and that I'm gonna enjoy. And they're too expensive. Cats are cheap. And when we go to a game weekend like Clemson, I can I don't have, who's gonna look after my dog?
You could get a gimp, and then have the gimp out back, and he could come in and.
Jeez. That's what you're advocating on. Let's talk about Florida State matters.
All right.
Use those promo codes, folks, to get the latest on what's going on with the coaching search. Listen, we're a podcast. We don't do breaking news. We're a podcast. We're taped. I mean, we are taped. So by our very nature, if you're listening to this for the latest news, you're missing the je ne sais quoi of the program. We're going to give you the information we know. Once it eventually does happen, we'll obviously react, and it'll probably be the most listened to show we've ever done. I'm sure once the coach is hired,
absolutely,
and we'll look forward to it. And we'll bring the heat and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you're like, hey man, why do you guys keep recording so early in the day and not giving us the latest?
We'll also understand that we record at 6:00 and say that something breaks at 9:30, something huge. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to record another podcast. We would not. We don't want this to be obsolete by the time it airs. Right. By the time you have access to it. So if you're listening to this, my voice right now, it's not obsolete. There's no news that it's been broken.
Some of the things that did come down that we probably can share without betraying our great valued subscribers. It does sound like Odell Haggins is interested in the job. It's no longer and we touched on it yesterday with the social media sort of surge with the players. It kind of probably hinted at the fact that he was interested in it. We've already kind of talked our piece about it, but it is kind of kind of cool to see that it is an actual.
Yeah,
option.
And obviously, if he beats Florida, if you have somebody you really want to get in here, I would hate for it to be a situation where you have somebody you really want. They're probably going to say yes. You think they're going to say yes, and then you go down to Gainesville, and Florida State's winning 17-12 in the fourth quarter, or let's say it's tied at halftime. And the powers that be of Florida State are like, oh, no, we cannot win this game. You don't want to ever be in that position,
God,
right?
No, hell
when you're
no.
Rooting against your team.
Never.
No, I don't think we would, but I'm saying they might if they have somebody because they know if they feel great about, I'm just throwing a name out. I'm not even throwing a name out there.
Say Bob Stoops. Everybody would take Bob Stoops
of course,
over Odell.
Bob. That's not because, absolutely, but that's not.
Okay.
I'm saying if it's
Matt
somebody
Campbell.
decides, if it's Matt Campbell, but you really like this guy's vision and you think he's great for Florida State. Well, good luck selling that if Odell Haggins just beat Florida. You know what I mean? That's hard to sell. I do think there is a line of delineation. Bob Stoops is obviously on the other side of it. I think James Franklin, Fleck. I think those guys are probably on the other side of the line. But a Campbell, maybe even a Venables, I don't know, a Mark Stoops. Dude, I don't think I don't know why you would hire the guy in Memphis, Baylor's guy, maybe Rule. I don't know that you would hire them as opposed to Odell Haggins, especially if Odell just beat Florida. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's only a few names out there that you would be like, all right, well that makes sense that you wouldn't let Odell get the job.
You've talked about this with the Miami-Florida State dynamic, just in terms of, the great Miami teams usually beat the great Florida State teams. When's the last time Florida State had no business beating Florida and they beat them? Like 96?
Well, I mean, Florida State was really good in 96. Yeah, I don't know. Has there been a one the opposite way too, though?
Maybe Outson, maybe the Rooster in 98.
But heck, that team had NFL guys all over the field and played for a national championship, so that team was really talented too. There's never been one where you're like, wow, that was crazy. Maybe
a lot of that has to deal with the fact that Florida just is not all that awesome all the time.
No, they haven't been very good lately, and I'm trying to think of one.
That's the thing. Like if Odell beats Florida in the swamp, it's one of the most improbable victories over Florida since my lifetime.
Yeah,
almost.
I mean, I would say the one that's coming to my mind is 2002 with Ricks and Anquan. They still had Rex Grossman.
But we're at home though. I think we're both kind of
So I'm like I don't
win team slogging along.
kind of, and it was a home game, so I don't know, man. That doesn't really happen a lot where one of these teams just kind of stuns the other one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got the Brandeis rotating 97 nonsense. I mean, that's their game. They can probably we had no business winning that game, and we shot.
Yeah, probably. But again, even there, that's a 10-win team. It wasn't. I think I'm sure Florida State was like a touchdown favorite, maybe.
Check it out.
It'd be great. It'd be unbelievable if Odell won that game. Yeah.
Hotboard 3.0, it is up. There's about 10 coaches on this Hotboard. Use the promo codes that we already talked to you about. FSU New Era, Garnet FSU Gold. I think one of the names that's on here, there's tiers, I guess you could say. James Franklin to me seems that's a bit of a surprise to me to see James Franklin's name thrown back into the mix.
I wonder why he'd do it.
He's a Pennsylvania guy. He's got Penn State doing pretty well. I mean, just a week ago they were they were a 4 seed in the playoff until PJ Fleck.
No, man, you think where Penn State was? When was that? A decade ago now, 8 or 9.
With the Sandusky stuff.
Well, with the Sandusky stuff, and they weren't very good anyway. Like Paterno was doing his bound and hanging on for too long, coaching from the press box, and
pooping his pants.
They just weren't relevant, and they haven't really been. From LeVar Arrington until 2015 or 16, they hadn't really had a lot of relevant moments in their history as far as I can remember. Franklin's done a really nice job up there and recruits really well. And that I can't imagine that's the easiest place to recruit, not only because of the negative image, rightly so, that it got with the Sandusky stuff, but just it's in Pennsylvania, in rural Pennsylvania. It's not a hotbed of activity like Tallahassee, Florida. What are you looking up?
I'm trying to go look at Penn State's year-to-year record, just kind of see where they were. Yeah, I mean, 2004 they had 4 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, 2003 they had 3 wins. 2004
well,
they
remember
had 4
then they
wins.
got great. They got really good again because he Bobby Bowden passed them, and then he went back and leapfrog Bowden. Like they started winning 10 or 11.
They went
games.
11, 9, 9, 11, 11, and then they've been hovering between 7. I mean, they went from 2010 to 2015. They only won between 7 and 9 games, and then 16, 17, they've won 11. Last year they won 9.
And then this year they were 8-0. I mean, he's a really good coach, man. He's done a really nice job up there.
A really good recruiter. I don't know how good of a coach.
Well, sure,
is,
but that's
really
half the deal, man. That's what I was saying.
Absolutely.
If you can recruit at rural Pennsylvania for a place that had its name
that's
besmirched like that,
brand around the Northeast,
sullied,
though.
For the Northeast, I guess that's the only one in the Northeast that people would want to go to, right?
Yeah.
That's like a big time football school. But still, they weren't recruiting at a great level, and now I feel like they're always in the top 10.
Yeah. So check it out. Hotboard 3.0. It's up right now on Warchant.com. Plenty more candidates. I
don't know how viable Franklin is, but I definitely think his name would be on that other side of the list where you'd be like, okay, I understand why you wouldn't make Odell the head coach for that guy.
Let me ask you a tough question, Corey.
Oh, no. All right.
When we record our next show on Sunday afternoon, will Florida State have a new head football coach?
I'm going to say no, but I think it'll be that week.
Okay.
I think it'll be the bye week. I think they're going to want it done before I got a text message. This might be it right here. Let me look and see.
I'm about to ask you a follow-up then. If they don't, if it's not Bob Stoops, I mean, if it's not announced on Friday or over the weekend, like when we rendezvous on Sunday afternoon, if there hasn't been anybody named, then I don't think it's going to be Bob Stoops. Like, it feels like this weekend is kind of
absolutely. I think that's fair. I mean, how long do you need, man? Again, what is he putting together his XFL roster? Is he scouting film? Is he too busy because he's working on his?
Well, he was in Stamford, Connecticut the other day, doing some sort of a PR stuff. For
you
the
think
XFL.
about it, man. Bob Stoops. The other night when I was out with Stephanie's work friends, and one of the guys was talking about, well, yeah, he's got a lot of money and he's coaching the XFL. I'm like, yeah, man, but this is a really competitive dude. Bob Stoops obviously is a very competitive guy. The XFL ain't going to scratch that itch, man.
Right.
Nobody cares about the XFL. It's a minor league football team. It's not even close in popularity to college football, and it won't be ever. It won't be close, and it won't be as competitive. Nobody's going to care if you win the X Bowl or Triple X Bowl or whatever they call the dumb thing. You're not going to care, and he knows that. And I think the thought of him coaching got those like juices flowing, and now if it's been this serious, he wants to coach college football. I do think that. Or he wants to coach. And I think the decision he's trying to make is, do I want to jump in now at a program like this where there is going to be a little bit of a turnaround, there's going to be a rebuild, or do I want to wait until, like, I don't know, Lincoln Riley goes to the NFL and I go back to Oklahoma or something like where it's already ready-made, like it's ready-made for you right now. I don't think it would take somebody like Bob Stoops long to turn a program around. He's done it. I don't think it would at all. But he might be saying, okay, there might be 4 better options than this next year.
Was that intentional or unintentional, Coracle, that you just dropped?
Unintentional.
Lincoln Riley's a legitimate, like, NFL teams want Lincoln Riley. Like, my heart just dropped. Imagine that. If he did come to Florida State and then 2 years later, Lincoln Riley's off the NFL, Bob's like, man, I'm going back to Norman.
Yeah, I mean, that's be something you wouldn't have to pay all that money, I guess. Yeah. But that'd be something you'd have to worry about, I guess. But to me, though, like, if he wants to be a college coach, and it sure seems like he does because he's not shooting the thing down with a shotgun. He's letting it stay out there. What else are you going to get this year that makes any sense? There's none. So it's just a matter of him, okay, do I want to do this?
Southern Cal?
Maybe. I still think Florida. I know that Florida State has a better job than Southern Cal. It's easier to win here than it is at Southern Cal. They've had how many coaches in the last 35 years? There's been one that's been successful. One. They've had one stretch since Marcus Allen left where they were truly relevant, and it was with Pete Carroll because he was a recruiting dynamo. So maybe Bob Stoops,
really good defensive coach.
Maybe Bob Stoops could do that. You know what I mean? Maybe Bob Stoops could find that magic again. I just think it's easier in Tallahassee. I do. I think it's easier to recruit here. There are more players. I guess. So there are more players in Florida than – I know there's more players in the South than there are on the West Coast, but I think there's better players in Florida than California. But either way, USC maybe. But I just think if it hasn't happened by this weekend, what would the wait be? Yeah. The offer, I'm sure, has been made. Everything they've negotiated has been back and forth. They have probably, I'm sure, acquiesced to almost everything he's said he needs or his people have said he needs. So if he has all this out there and he still can't decide by, day 14, all right, man, let's bounce. Let's move on to somebody else because he's obviously not diving in.
He was on ESPN Central Texas on Wednesday and was asked about potentially returning to college football.
Is there a network, the ESPN Central Texas?
Well, there's ESPN Tallahassee.
Oh, you're talking about a radio. I thought you meant like a...
No, I'm sorry. He was on radio, affiliate, ESPN affiliate in Central Texas. Was asked about potentially returning to college football and said, quote, well, you never know what the Lord is going to bring you. Everybody wants you to define your life at every age. At 50, they wanted me to know what I was going to do the rest of my life. At 55 and now 59, everyone thinks you got to, who knows what I'll be doing next year or the year after. You don't know what you're going to be doing next year, and the good Lord is the only one who knows. We'll see where things end up for me.
Not a denial, is it?
No.
Not even close to a denial. Definitely leaving the door open, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that did happen there on Wednesday. And, I think this weekend we should know something about Bob Stoops, and we'll go to the hot board after that. Before we get to over-unders, let's get back to the rest of the questions that we did not finish up on the Renegade Express. Also, to that point, I wanted to mention we did a live video chat, myself, Gene Williams, Irish OFL, they get top billing. So Gene Williams, Irish OFL, and myself, I should have prefaced it as. And Ira did talk about folks that he knows that are in the orbit of Bob Stoops. The concerns about him maybe not having his heart in it or not being fully invested. He's recharged. He's ready. Like he wants, to your point, Greg. He wants.
You know what,
to
then, Bob? Prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it. Where are you, buddy? Yeah. You should already be on the recruiting trail. There's got to be some quarterback that's not committed. You should be in his house tomorrow. You should be you should be watching his game tomorrow in the state playoffs, and then you're in his house on Saturday telling how much you want him to be a Nole. Prove it, Bob.
This probably, I think we probably talked about this, but Corey, you're always good at summarizing things. Jolin Cones. So his name is probably Colin Jones, but he transversed the C and the J.
Nice.
Wake up! Good morning, fellas. I'm a new subscriber. I use the code BEATMIAMI. I'm from Tallahassee. Yeah, well, at least something came good out of that. I'm from Tallahassee. I go to Tallahassee Community College. I hope to enroll at Florida State next fall for sports management. My question, why did we pull the plug on Willie this early? It seems like we did that because we had an immediate plan ready, although it's only been 2 weeks. It feels like forever. I don't think there was an immediate plan ready. Or there's a plan. Maybe not. Like they obviously didn't have Bob Stoops tied up. It was probably one of those things where we can't. This is not tenable any longer. We don't believe in the direction that he's going. We got to get somebody, and we're going to go after somebody big, like a Bob Stoops.
And also, if you know you're making the move, there's no way that Taggart can save his job because we all agree that they weren't going to beat Florida.
Absolutely.
No chance. So if you know that he's not, there's no way he can save his job, even if he goes and beats Boston College. Like Coburn said at the press conference, 6-6 isn't good enough. If you already know that you're going to fire him at the end of the year, it's a new day, man. It's 2019. Cut the cord. Be done with it. Let people know the job is open. You're paying them that money one way or the other. Be done with it, because then you also don't have all this speculation, like all this Monday, the Monday before the Boston College game. It would all have been about his job, and I'm just focused on the kid. And then we'd been asking the players, what do you think about Taggart's job being in jeopardy and all that. You cut that off at the knees by just making the decision. And I think if they thought there was a chance in Hades that he would get this thing righted in time to be able to beat Florida and Gainesville, they at least let it ride out and see if he can do it. No chance. They with good reason. No chance they were going to beat Florida.
Hades or Hades?
Hades. Right? You ever call it? You call it Hades?
Oh, it's Hades.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Hades sounds like plural of Haitian descent. Like the country of Haiti. Hades.
Oh, the Hades? Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry. It's H-A-D. Yeah, Hades, man, right?
Hades. Hotter than Hades out there.
Now you got me questioning myself.
Look it up. But I already talked about this. Some people might be curious. It was asked on the live chat whether or not there'll be like a Taggart Tales similar to the Jimbo Chronicles. He and Gene both talked about it. It was so unprecedented. Listen, Willie getting fired after, not 2 whole calendar years is unprecedented. But just Jimbo leaving, what Jimbo built, him leaving, the questions around it from a national perspective, people from 5,000 feet looking up at Florida say, like, what did you just do? How did you just let that guy leave? Like, what were you thinking? That's what Jimbo Chronicles almost kind of sought out to answer. It wasn't to really like do an autopsy on Jimbo just because. It was like, hey, there's so many people just thought that was absolutely absurd, ridiculous that they would do this. Well, here's the explanation why. With Willie, it's not so much. It kind of feels like it would be piling on. But probably, some point maybe between,
I think that one
before
would be
spring football, maybe something would come out, but not as thorough. Though.
If you're going to do a deep dive into the Taggart turmoil, it would be about what went wrong. Like, how did he get it so wrong? And why they made the only thing I could think that would be like,
people want backstories, man. People want to hear the things that.
But I think what you would do maybe is you could maybe perhaps explain why they were so willing to make a decision after 21 games, what they had seen. But yeah, right now it would be piling on. Half the coaches are here still his guys, and also the Jimbo thing was like, the Florida State administration was like not upset at all that he left. This guy that had won so many games. In the question where a lot of people, a really good question was, well, why? And then that, Ira and Gene mainly, I mean, mine was more of a positive Jimbo thing, was laying out, okay, where it went wrong behind the scenes, how he alienated so many people, and it got to a point where it was like almost untenable. And how did it get to untenable? That was more the point of that. I think this was more about, well, yeah, they were terrible on the field. It's all on the scoreboard while Willie left.
You're right.
No, I got it right. Yeah, I knew it. I looked it up.
Hades. Corey's right. All right, next one. 12th the Nole way. Listen to Dedrick Dodge's interview with you guys. He discussed and elaborate on the foundation built and the culture it produced. Understanding how that DNA has been identified in all our successful years, would it be a more successful approach to make the coaching hires based off of what we want here? Pro-style offense, 4-3 defense, versus hiring the hottest guy that would have to then completely change the model and style we have played for years.
Yeah, I don't know about that necessarily. I get the question. It's a good question. I just think that, if the best way to win football in 2019 was to run it 86 times with a 270-pound fullback, you do whatever it takes to start winning games again. I don't know that necessarily Florida State is just a straight pro-style offense and a 4-3 defense. I just think you got to go get somebody that has a plan that has worked, that you believe in their vision. And you believe in their vision. I think you need to make sure it's worked at a higher level maybe than, like we said with Willie. He'd only been at a Power 5 school for one season, so maybe get somebody that's been at a Power 5 school for longer, so there's a little more track record. But yeah, I think you're not gonna. I don't think you should narrow your search like that. You should narrow your window. I mean, if Lincoln Riley wanted to come here, you'd be like, okay. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't say, yeah, you can come here, but you need to bring a pro-style offense with you. I guess that easy. I mean, what is a pro-style offense anymore?
Done, yeah.
I think I think you go with whoever you think the best candidate is. I don't think you want to pigeonhole them into a certain style they have to coach with. I think more to the point of that question, though, or more to the point of what Dedrick was talking about, is you would want somebody that's indoctrinated in the culture of Florida State football, loves it, appreciates it, remembers it, and maybe reaches back out to the former players and makes it feel like an enormous family. I think that's something that the new coach that'd be a very good idea for them to do. Is kind of, and Willie did it to an extent by bringing Mickey back and
embracing Bobby,
embracing Bobby. Game, yeah. But his teams did not play like Florida State teams.
Nope. Rich 5203, he joined May 19th, 2015. This is his first ever message.
Okay, wow. 4.5 years.
Breaks the silence. Did you guys see the article ESPN published about Nebraska being too far gone, even for Scott Frost? To me, this proves that the view on FSU is slanted. I do believe Willie was not getting it done, but never was there anything that spoke of our former coach like this article speaks about Frost. He is failing in Nebraska, and it's the program's fault, not his.
Yeah, so I get that. There are some realities though. Nebraska was big in the 70s and 80s and 90s because they were always good. They were always on TV, and they were able to recruit from a lot of different areas of the country because they were one of the big programs. They were an established program. Lawrence Phillips, I think, is from California.
I'll look it up.
I know Tommy Frazier's from Florida. Mm-hmm. They were able to go all over the country and get these huge linemen. And then most of those guys were just steroid-fed cows from Omaha, I think. But they got skill players from all over the country. And then now in 2019, Nebraska's not a big deal anymore, man, because everybody's on TV. Everybody's on TV. They are not a big name anymore, and they're in Nebraska. And so, I think they used to go into Texas a lot and get players, and that pipeline has kind of been shut off because why would you go play in Nebraska right now? They haven't been relevant in 17 or 18 years, and unlike Florida State, they're not in a fertile recruiting area. They are in Nebraska. There might be 6 or 8 or 12 legitimate Big 12 players in the entire state of Nebraska each year. Florida has, 100? 80? Just the talent level is such that it's a whole different dynamic at the University of Nebraska. I do think it'll be really hard to ever win there big again because I don't know how you do it. It's going to take a dynamic coach.
If Minnesota's doing it, he can do it.
But is Minnesota doing it? They're doing it. They're 9-0. But what are they going to be in 2 years? I'm talking about getting Nebraska where it was always competing for conference and national championships.
I think he needs more time.
I don't know if you're ever going to do it in Nebraska, man. There's too many the parity is such. There are too many other good programs to choose from. I can't imagine in 1979 or 1980 that anybody would have chosen Florida, Florida State, or Miami over Nebraska.
Tennessee.
No, I don't think anybody.
Georgia, yeah.
But now you've got 40 or 50 schools that you might choose over Nebraska. So it's going to be – he can get them relevant again, but I do think it's different. I think the expectations at Nebraska – and plus he's their guy. Mm-hmm. He's a Nebraska
son.
Dude. He's a native son. They begged him to come. I just think the situations are different. I'm not saying it's a bad question. It's a very relevant and reasonable question. I just think the situations are unique and the situations are different. And I think Florida State has proven much more recently that they can be the best program in the country. Nebraska hasn't been the best program in the country in 22 years.
Yeah, I think it's their last stand. Like, and if he can't do it, then no one can do. So I think that's why they're going to give him all this time.
I think he's there for life. I don't know, other than something off the field, or if they just completely go 0-11, 1-10, I don't know that they'll ever fire him.
Lawrence Phelps was from West Covina, California.
Booyah.
The Peters brothers, Christian and Jason, were from New Jersey.
Good dudes, those guys. Yeah. Holy moly. Don't look up their Wikipedia.
Mike Rucker was from Missouri. So, yeah, they pulled a lot of Midwestern guys. And, New Jersey, obviously not Midwest, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think, I think there's a path to greatness for them. Grant Wistrom was from Missouri. Remember Grant?
I do. Not a lot of Nebraska guys you mentioned. I think Amon Green was from Nebraska.
From Omaha,
yeah.
That's crazy. Crazy.
I wonder what the ratio of their great players from their state compared to Florida State or Florida or USC's, their great players from their state.
Big Steve-O, 22, morning fellas. Man, that interview with Blade was awesome. Corey, you could hear the excitement in your voice interviewing him. He really got me pumped up about wanting to bring that old FSU culture back. Love Odell. He embodies what I like as a coach and how I think I would be. Selfless, passionate, cares for the players and coaches, places them above himself, and doesn't have a personal agenda other than everyone around him being successful.
Absolutely, by the way. Absolutely right. That's a really good point. I think that's I didn't even mention it in my column, but that's a really good, refreshing perspective of any. That's not a slight at the people that have even been at Florida State here recently. I'm talking about all over the country. You know that dude genuinely only cares about Florida State winning football games. You know what I mean? It's not about him climbing some ladder to hopefully be the head coach of the Browns one day. He just wants to be at Florida State, and he wants to see Florida State win championships.
My question, outside of coaches, who are the top 5 leaders in FSU football history? Meaning, who are your top 5 team leaders in the past FSU football teams? I think one that pops in my head is Telvin, of course. Even the Blade gave him a shout-out. Go Noles.
Wow. Man, that's a hard one. You put me on the spot. Can I come back to that?
We absolutely can come back to it. Noel Maker, we'll have to punt on this one. What is the status of Dante Lucas? If injury is the real reason for him missing the trip last week to Boston College, might it be better to rest him another week before preparation for UF? Yeah, we don't know. We weren't able to speak to any of the coaches. Well done by Odell when he was asked about injuries. Like, well, I'm going to have a meeting with Jake File, head trainer, 4 p.m., and he'll let me know what's going on.
Okay, then we'll ask you Saturday after the game, huh, Coach?
Yeah, so that did catch me by surprise. I never remembered Dante going down in the Miami game, but it could be one of those things afterwards. Apparently, Hornibrook was hurt in the Miami game. That might have been the reason why James started. Apparently, shoulder might have got dinged up.
Yeah. Well, so, maybe. Maybe that was the reason, or maybe they just saw enough out of Hornibrook. Yeah. But whatever the case may be, I can't imagine you're going back to Hornibrook now, not after that game.
Yeah, who knows? Maxwell Gibbs.
Who knows? Who cares? Am I right, Aslan?
Yep. What's better than 5 takes from Gene Williams? 3 takes from Maxwell Gibbs. Happy Bama State week, boys. My big 3 takeaways from Boston College. James is a leader, very calm. I've no problem admitting I've been hard on him all year. I still maintain if Hornibrook started from day one, they would have beat Boise, Virginia, and Wake. But James was ready when the team needed him. He earned my respect, not just as a quarterback, but as a person. 2, awesome to see Kendall getting upset over the false start penalty in the first half. It's about dang time someone on the staff showed some emotion. 3.
William Floyd. There's one. Okay.
Thank you.
There's one, William Floyd.
If Willie truly meddled all season by changing formations and whatnot and taking personnel recommendations from Browse and Randy, then shame on him. That's why he was sitting on the couch just like me Saturday when Jordan Travis scored that first touchdown. Hope that stung watching that, Willie. Man, Maxwell has got so much venom. A question this week for you, gents. Still love you, though, Maxwell. Hamsa, 15 tackles away from 100 on the year. That got me thinking, who's the last FSU player to record 100 tackles in a season? Side note, suck it, UF. Very excited to hear more basketball on the show going forward.
I would think Telvin, right? Oh, he didn't play a ton because their leads were so big. I don't know that he would have ever gotten 100 tackles. I think Hamp's had 91.
My media guide.
You're going to get a media guide out? That's good.
Probably should get that.
I will say a quick William Floyd story that I remember from my Osceola readership days when I was a subscriber to the Osceola back in the 90s. That was always one of my Christmas presents each year was a membership to Osceola.
Nerd.
I know. And apparently at halftime of the 93 championship game, people will remember this name, Marquette Smith, who was the offensive player of the year in the country coming out of high school. He and Derek Brooks. Derek Brooks was the defensive player of the year. Marquette Smith was the offensive player of the year. They obviously had varying degrees of success at the next level. But Marquette Smith was he had played on that team in 93 but got hurt. And also the little guy named Warwick Dunn passed him on the depth chart. So he was injured and not playing in the game. And I guess he was probably already knowing he was going to transfer to Central Florida. But anyway, as Aslan continues to look through his media guide, at halftime, I'm almost positive. I don't think I'm making this up. I could have dreamed it, but I'm 96% sure it happened. At halftime, William Floyd walks into the locker room during when I guess they're tied with Nebraska, or they're down with Nebraska. It's a national championship game, and he sees Marquette Smith on the phone. And remember, this is 1993, so it's not like he's on a cell phone. I think he's on a phone like, I don't know, a pay phone or a phone connected to the wall in the locker room, I guess.
Landline phone.
And he either screams him down, pushes him against the wall, or slaps the phone out of his hand. I can't remember the exact, punishment or language that was used in the Osceola article, but I do remember William Floyd apparently just screaming at Marquette Smith to get off the phone. Again, that could be I could gotten most of that wrong. I also remember, though, as a freshman at LSU in 91, they were undefeated. LSU was terrible, but they were down at halftime of that game. And William Floyd was just a freshman fullback. Not a no-name. He was a big deal coming out of high school, but still, he wasn't even a starter. And he starts screaming and almost crying at his teammates to get it together. We can win this game. We can't go out like this. It was a rainy night in Baton Rouge, and Kirby Puckett hit a walk-off home run later that night to break young Corey Clark's heart. But in that locker room that night, William Floyd, the freshman, was the one yelling at his teammates. So he's a really good one I would go with is William Floyd. There's a long story. I feel like I gave you a lot of time there, Aslan.
Nothing conclusive.
Oh, jeez.
All the media guide has is just season, the top 20 performances in a season. There's nobody from the 1990s outside of one Marvin Jones in 1990. He had 133 tackles.
He was good.
Yeah.
Marvin.
Number one of all time, Aaron Carter.
He had 500 and something?
181.
No, I mean for his career. He had like 500 and
512.
There you go.
Golly, you're crazy, man.
Well, that's a crazy number.
How's that?
500 tackles is a crazy number.
Who knows that except for Corey Clark, man? All right, are you going to try to find out who got 100
Yeah,
tackles?
you go read the next question.
Okay, we'll do that. Back to warchant.com. Georgia Noles 86. Think about 13 exclamation marks, all caps. Wake up! Do you think FSU will return Willie's money that he donated to the football-only facility? No, it doesn't work that way.
You don't think?
No.
All right.
What is the status of Anthony Grant? I see he is back home in Beaufort, Georgia. Well, you're in Lawrenceville, so if you saw him back in Beaufort, probably know more than I do. That's a weird thing.
That was coming. I mean, that's been a weird deal all season.
Yeah. I don't think Georgia Noles was. I don't think Ranier was hinting at any sort of impropriety. Yeah, I mean, it might be one of those things where he can kind of figure out if he wants to come back here. Maybe new staff might give him some renewed energy, or maybe open the door, or maybe close the door on him. But these scholarships are a annual or semester to semester basis. I'm sure they'll reevaluate it. If FSU hired Coach JB, Jason Brown, from Last Chance U, what would be the one question that you would ask him at the introductory press conference?
Oh, my gosh. What went wrong with Malik?
Would you bring Malik back here?
How much money did you pay? I mean, imagine, there'd be 1,000 questions. How is this happening? Am I awake? That would be another question. Is this a dream? This isn't happening, right, Coach?
Will Stogie run behind Renegade and remove the spear with his mouth and then run it back?
Did you see that he actually tweeted about that? Somebody tweeted something, and he retweeted. It's like, none of these schools have enough balls to hire me as the coach. It's also like, man, you went like 2-8 in the JUCO level with with a really talented team.
The Jayhawk Conference, which is where great people are forged.
In 2015, Reggie Northrup had 94 tackles.
Oh,
and Derwin had 91.
Oh,
He was right there as a freshman. Wow.
look at that.
All right, keep going.
Reddick Knoll, wake up. Current FSU student. I hail from Ocala, Florida, home of FSU national champion P.J. Williams and current Miami quarterback N'Kosi Perry.
Northrup, 2014, 122 tackles.
There you go. Thank you, Corey.
Did it. Nailed it.
Did you Knoll fan it up, or did you?
Yeah, Knoll fanned it.
Gosh, man, they're the best. I have listened to Wake Up Warchant for about a year and a half now, but just got a Warchant account thanks to the student promo code.
There we go.
Let's say we hire Bob Stoops.
All right, let's
Who
all
from
say
the
it.
current staff would you like to see retained?
Odell.
Check.
After that, nothing really. If Bob Stoops has better people in mind, then that's Odell to me is the only one that's definite. Yeah. I wonder about Bryles and I mean, if there's a chance that the kid from Houston will be sauntering on down to Tallahassee to play his final year, and the only way he'd come is if Kendall Bryles was his OC, then keep Kendall Bryles as your OC. Other than that, I don't think there's really.
I'd keep Telly. I'd try to keep Telly Lockett. I think Telly Lockett's good enough in the state of Florida and is in a position of tight ends coach that it's kind of a throwaway position that you don't lose anything on field. I think he's the guy that gets you in. He keeps you locked into Miami, which is obviously very important. I would keep Telly.
Okay.
And I mean, I guess you want to keep Kendall and Randy. I'll defer if it's Bob Stoops. If Bob Stoops thinks those two guys are good enough, I'll defer to him.
That's probably fair.
I mean, I don't want to dog Ron Dugans. I just don't.
Well, that too. I mean, I don't one way or the other. I mean, it'd be cool if he stayed, but if Bob Stoops has somebody better in mind, or he thinks is better in mind, then all for it. And
I think Browse will be like, hey man, can I get my brother-in-law to come out here? You know, Jeff Lebby, who's like the quarterbacks coach at UCF. Like, can he just come out here and help out with receivers?
Oh, well, I don't know about that. It would be cool to have some old Florida State guys on the staff. Maybe that'll mean something to Bob. Yeah. And the receivers haven't been terrible. Now they dropped a few here and there.
Oh no, yeah.
But they do all right.
Well, hey man, you could have been here 2 years ago. Decided to stay in Miami.
Yeah, exactly right.
I remember these things. R. Shapley joined September of 2004. His 5th message ever.
Wow, man, that's. Can you go back and look at his other 4?
Yeah, I can do that. He starts it off with about 9 E's, 4 P's, and 15 exclamation marks.
Oh, he's fired up for post number 5.
Wake up, Corey!
That didn't sound. You didn't give that nearly enough with all those E's and P's.
Well, you got to show some respect to the guy who also drives it. Didn't say anything about me waking up.
Oh, true. Good point.
Wake up, Corey! Wake up, Corey. I love the show, and actually, I can't pull up his. For some reason, it won't show the message.
Oh,
that
that's
he's
too
posted.
bad.
I love the show. I listen every day. 2018 graduate of FSU. That's crazy. He graduated in 2018, and he's been a member since 2004. Is it 4 years old? No, you're like 23.
He'd be 7 years old, right?
Wow.
Hey, man, good for him.
Yeah.
I didn't get Brady an account.
I'm with Corey on this one. Venables should be the number 1 candidate in our head coaching search. Bob Stoops would be great, but we do not need to pay a guy $8 million a year to come in here and give a half-hearted effort. He got burnt out once. I'm worried it would happen again. What is y'all's take on keeping Odell next year while we continue the search for the right guy? Getting Venables would dagger Clemson, bring them down to planet Earth, and we would have a top 3 defensive mind in college football as our head coach. By the way, if you go to Zaxby's and do not use your Zax sauce, there's something seriously wrong with you.
Absolutely.
Truth.
1,000%. Yeah, I mean, I've always said Venables is, you're killing 2 birds there with 1 hire, which is nice. But, I don't think we don't know if Stoops is half-heart. Maybe, you get revitalized, and maybe he realized how much he missed it.
Again, Ira said as much. He's back, man.
But that's right now. There's an excitement about, it's fun to lead college football. It's fun to be a college football head coach. Once you get into the day in, day out grind of it, do we know how he's going to react to it? We don't.
I'm hardly worried about that. And if it is, man, like, there's no financial loss, and then you're back to the drawing board.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Odell, bail us out again, and this time we'll let you stay.
There's not a huge risk. I would assume, obviously, that the contract would be drawn up. That if my man just decides to up and quit or take another job, Florida State's off the hook completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think they'll cover their bases a lot better this time. They should with whoever the hire is. But I don't think we can assume he's half-hearted. If he does this, he's got to jump in feet first, right? I mean, it is odd that it's taken so long. If he's, what's the holdup, Bob?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he wants it. It's more than money. I think there's power he wants. There's, they talked about potentially there's, commitments
I'm saying
to infrastructure.
What if it drags on another week?
Who are you missing out on? Who's gonna like?
No, I know, but what would that say about how interested he really is in it if it drags on another week?
Well, he wants to make sure everything is perfect before he does this. And can you really fault that guy? He's got all the power right now.
But if a guy that's trying to
we need him more than he needs us.
If a guy waits to propose to his girlfriend for 7 years because he wants to make sure they handle every scenario, okay, we got to live together first for 4 years, see how that goes. Right. Does he really want to get married? At some point, you just jump and do it.
Or maybe he's just doing his due diligence. Maybe he came from a divorced
family
that guy.
And
he doesn't want to
Screw
go
that
through
guy.
the same thing.
Odell or Venables. Tired of Stoops.
Noel Daddy 13. Wake up, first-time poster, long-time listener. Before you ask, the 13 in my username has nothing to do with the 2013 national title, but it refers to the great Nigel Bradham, of whom I went to school with at Wakulla.
There you go.
Anyway, with all the coaching rumors and lack of consistency, I'll be a change of pace and ask something that isn't related to coaching or even football. Aslan, have you made any steps forward with the fine, smart Tinder date you had a couple weeks back? No, I have not. Any decisions made on whether or not you're going to try to pull out the chick flick scenario? No. Thanks, fellas, for making my commute to school manageable in the morning.
So,
no.
You had a nice date.
Yeah.
Is this the one that was leaving town?
Yeah.
Has she left?
I think she'll today. I think it's supposedly the 15th. I think she said she was going to leave. Let me pull up the transcript here. It's just this is what I deal with, man. This is what happens in this day.
How many you got going right now?
I'm not going to answer that question. So I said I mentioned you on the podcast, not specifically, and people are like, "Where is the smoke show?" LMAO. What was said, and is this something I can hear? I'm like, maybe, and only good things. LOL, better be. I sent her the link to the show. I'm like, I think it's about the 48-minute mark.
When was this?
This was on Friday, November 1st, so 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's been a while.
Yeah. And then 2 days later, on Sunday, she responds to me with Becky and the emoji with like a girl with her hand held out, kind of like a diva, like, hey.
Why that? Did we call her Becky?
Becky.
Okay.
Sunday, November 3rd, 7:37 p.m. I don't respond to her.
I don't understand, man. That's the part right there that people listen to this. Maybe it's me because I'm old. I just don't understand how you don't. If somebody reaches out to you, somebody that you like.
2 days later?
Sure. She reaches out to you. She's nice, and she looks like that. And you just decide, I'm not going to – I mean, she's reaching out. She's making at least a little bit of an effort. I can't believe you wouldn't at least say LOL or ROFL or RHTS or whatever you need to say acronymically-wise to get the conversation going.
Monday, November 4th, 12:10 p.m. Didn't get the reference. Shrug emoji she sends me. I respond in kind. That is correct. She says, your podcast, Tinder Tuesday, Becky. I respond, sure.
I'm already down. I'm already down on you. You should be listening to the podcast to see what she's talking about. You even gave her the 48-minute mark. So I must have called her Becky because you wouldn't tell me her name.
Right. I might have said something about Rebecca. Anyhow, she responds, okay sign emoji. And then I respond, you want to go out again or what?
Oh, man, I can't listen to this.
And
Becky, I apologize for Aslan. I mean, that's not you were sabotaging yourself.
I didn't care. I mean,
of course you didn't care. That's obvious.
I'm just saying, like, yeah. I mean, what am I? I mean, ball was in her.
Man.
Ball was in her court.
I think she threw the ball into your court though, and you just kind of kicked it away.
Well, then, so I'm like, you want to go out again or what? And then I legitimately, truly, accidentally pocket dialed her. And I'm like, and I saw it. I'm like, oh crap! And I hit end, and I respond. I'm like, sorry, pocket dial. Nothing's been said since then.
Oh my gosh,
So,
man!
Good luck to her.
I feel like I'd have done all right in this if I was
In this era?
If in this era, because
Yeah.
I would always respond. I'd be sweet. I wouldn't be like that, and I would laugh at their jokes, and I would probably fall for them way too fast. That would be my issue.
You just pander to too many people, man.
Absolutely, I'd pander to that. I saw that picture. Sorry, Stephanie, you don't listen to this show, do you?
Ward Dunn 93. Morning, fellas. Curious to know if Odell or any coach that takes an interim head coach position is compensated in some way for the temporary promotion.
That's a good question.
I'd imagine Willie, Jimbo are roughly earning a per-game salary equal to Odell's annual salary. Do you think FSU kicks him a bonus for the last 4 games with increased responsibilities, or maybe something is included in a standard contract that accounts for these situations?
All right, I'm going to look that up.
That
real
I don't
quick.
think so. I don't think there's anything in their contracts that's like in the event that you are promoted to a head coaching vacancy, you will be then compensated by 40. You'll increase by 40%.
So Willie was making $5 million a year.
Correct.
So if we prorate that to per week, he was making
14
90.
weeks.
He was making 96. But he's the head coach for the whole year.
Okay.
So he's making $96,000 per week. Per week for 52 weeks. Oh. So Odell has been the head coach now for what? He's going to be the head coach for what?
2 weeks.
But by the end of the year, he'll be the head coach for plus the bowl game.
I mean, 8.
8 weeks.
Yeah.
So let's do the math real quick. He should get an extra $769,000. I don't think they prorate it like that and give him head coach salaries, but yeah, they should give him a bonus or something, man. They should definitely give Odell a bonus. They got enough money lay around to pay somebody not to coach them.
Oh, man. All right, that's it.
That's it. We're done.
Over-under's coming up right after this.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Noles since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com.
Welcome back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's. It still hasn't started raining yet, Corey. I'm supposed to go to the fair with a lady, but I was kind of hoping it was going to rain because I really don't want to go to the fair.
Not Becky.
No, not that one. Another one.
Okay. It's supposed to be raining.
I'm not quite a North Florida fair type of guy.
Yeah, that's not in your.
It's not my constituency.
That's not in your wheelhouse. Yeah.
You know. Over-unders from the Williams Sportsbook. Here we go. Jordan Travis pass attempts. 2.5. Over-under. Where's that marker at? My pen's
You're
not
hoping that they
working.
get a pretty big lead. Excuse me. Sorry. We assume Hornibrook is still banged up. They should have a pretty big lead, and you do want this kid. You want to see if he can throw a little bit in a game. I think he'll get a few. I think he'll get a few passing attempts.
I'm going to say under just because I think I caught 2.
I think you
up
need
to
I feel like you need to just
2.
answer truthfully. What do you think?
2.
Okay, all right.
Under. Penalties on FSU 7. Over/under, Corey. 7 penalties.
Over. I mean, I'm just going by history. Don't they average about 8.5?
How many did they have last week?
11.
Did they?
Yeah. They were all like false starts. I think the officials will feel bad for Alabama State, so I think you'll get a few penalties.
I'll take the under. That's a big number, 7. I'll take the under. Hamza Nasruddin tackles 9.5.
Under.
Yeah, who's weak? Yeah. Well, he won't be playing all that much, or they won't get enough plays to where it's in his wheelhouse.
That and you got to figure the linebackers and D linemen will make a few more tackles this week, and they won't have to depend on the safety to come up and help them. And he probably hope he's not playing as much.
Okay. Number of FSU punts 2.5.
Over.
Yeah, I'm going to say at least 3. At least 3. Attendance 56,500.
I think the last I saw from Jim Henry said that they had distributed 49,000. That was on Thursday morning, maybe Wednesday morning. Mm-hmm. Students weren't showing up real well. It was only 5,000 of the 16,000 student tickets have been picked up. So I think you might get to fit. What is it?
56.5.
Under. I'm going under.
I'm going under as well. Also, I think I saw on the bottom line on ESPN
I think it'll be close to that, though. I think they will get close to that.
bottom line on ESPN, I think, was showing that Notre Dame is not expecting a sellout, and it's going to end their streak at like 200-something games.
Since 1971 or 2 or something.
That's crazy. Why? Like, what? I mean, like, they're not that terrible. Who are they playing this week?
Navy.
Really?
I
That's
think so,
like that's a somewhat of a storied rivalry game. Roger Staubach must be turning in his
rolling
grave.
over in his grave. Yeah, man, I think it's down everywhere. It's hard to sell out these days.
It might be really bitterly cold
It
up
could
there,
be,
too.
yeah. I mean, I
Did
assume
you see that Northern Illinois Toledo game the other
oh my
night?
God, can you imagine being there? I mean, there was 11 people in the stands, and they were crazy.
Jeez, and that's where so many kids from Florida, like second-tier kids, end up going to schools like Toledo and Northern Illinois. And like those are the kids that Willie was picking off at USF. It's like, thank you. I will play my balls off for you for not making me have to go to Toledo.
I'll have to go to the MAC.
You just saved me by making me come to USF. And lastly, as always, the official number over under 64.5 points.
Ooh.
I'm going to take the under. I think Florida State will score like 45, and then they might put like 13 on us.
I'm gonna say the over.
Oh, for once you're going to take the
I
over.
think they're going to get to 50. I think they want to break. I think they want to get a half piece. Okay. Is that a saying? Is that slang for 50?
Half 100.
Half a hundy.
That's what they.
Half piece. So I think that's what they're going to go for 50. They want to break that barrier.
There was a cable provider in Mississippi that stepped up to the plate for a few years and would do these really over-the-top productions on for a Thursday night high school football game. It's called like C-Spire, Friday Night Bright Lights or Thursday Night Bright Lights. Anyhow, it was like these two big rivals, one from Rankin County, one from Madison County. They're the two larger counties in the state of Mississippi, like Jackson metropolitan area. And the home team got destroyed. They lost like 56-21, and the head coach like the next week was like, "Yeah, we got another," and he was so arrogant, but he was the best. He's like, "Yeah, we got another tough contest this week. Sounds like we'll see if we can hang half 100 on them like we did last week."
Oh, okay, nice.
So yeah, so every time I think about 50, that's what I'm like.
Think a half 100.
Let's play UCF in the Gasparilla Bowl, hang half 100 on them,
or go back to Shreveport,
or go back to Shreveport,
or lose on Saturday. Don't go anywhere. Gang, you don't need to lose. You need to go ahead and get Odell to another bowl game.
Save what you got for us going to the Florida game. We don't need a lot of motivation now. It's Alabama State. Just show up and support Odell, right, everybody?
Yeah, be there. Shanna and Brady are going to be there. Coming down
Clark.
from Atlanta. Shanna B. Clark. And
Shanna Nee Clark. Now it's Bonagino.
Shanna Bottingino Clark.
Good trade-in.
Oh, yeah. Really thought that one through, didn't you? Jeez. Brady will be there. So, yeah, get there, support Odell. You're going to get to see some touchdowns probably. You'll support the seniors. Ira has I haven't read it yet, but a really in-depth story about Cole Minshew, somebody to root for because he came back from a serious neck injury, senior. So, will probably be the last time Cam Akers steps foot on that field again. So, go support those guys too. And Marvin, even though he won't be playing.
He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's.